I have witnessed countless souls. Perhaps, in a way, I've even witnessed your own. I watch them all struggle with the one true constant. I am the cosmic witness, you see, a silent observer. And today, I'm going to share the story of one particular traveler and their journey with the very burden I carry for them all: time.
So many believe their deepest suffering is some kind of wound that can eventually heal. But they're mistaken. The true wound isn't an injury at all. It's a countdown. It's that relentless internal clock just ticking away the space between a beginning and an end. Before I arrived, this traveler was just like so many others, trapped. But not by stone walls or iron bars. No, this was a prison of their own making, forged from the hopeless desire to control something that can never, ever be controlled.
They had built this beautiful, gilded cage for themselves, filled it with ticking clocks, and were always looking west, constantly staring toward endings. They really believed they could somehow negotiate with time, or maybe even outrun it. They were mistaking mere survival for true evolution.
And that right there, that's the root of all their torment. This desperate, burning need to possess a force that you can only ever live within. This is the fundamental agony of their condition.
All of that striving, all that running, it continues, right up until the moment it can't. That moment of terrible honesty, the kind of moment I provide. So what does happen when the truth finally arrives? Not with a bang, but quietly, in the silent space between heartbeats.
Well, that is when I appear. Not as a judge, not as an executioner. I don't come to punish or to bargain. I just arrive, a silent, inevitable observer. My only purpose is to reflect existence as it is, without any illusion. I deliver a truth so fundamental it can't be put into words, and with every step I take, I leave little cracks in their reality, just letting the light of what is shine through. I hold up a mirror, but this isn't any ordinary mirror. It shows them their own story, sometimes even playing it all out in reverse. It just strips away all those comforting lies, all the illusions of control they've so carefully built. They see the beginning from the end, and the end from the beginning. Now, when they see me too soon, their whole life of possibility just collapses into a known countdown. They're forced to carry the weight, the knowledge of their own ending. And their eyes, well, their eyes fill with dying stars. This moment brings the traveler to a brand new stage, a forced confrontation deep inside the subterranean temple of their own soul. This is the architecture of their unraveling. And right here, the traveler is presented with two paths. They can cling to survival, the gilded cage, that endless, pointless negotiation with time that only leads to stagnation, or they can choose evolution. It's a difficult path, for sure, but it's one of unraveling, of facing the fire of truth, and finally, of acceptance. This unraveling, it's a process. First, the heavy sentence of existence is laid bare for what it really is. Then, they have to understand that their wounds don't bleed, they tick. And enduring that requires a very special kind of spiritual grace. And finally, they discover that peace isn't found in outrunning the end, but in enduring the journey with courage. And so, we come to the climax. The traveler stands with me, right at the very edge of the universe, with the last embers of existence just fading away. Here, on this precipice, they have to face the final, definitive choice. So what's it going to be? The cold, deep silence of non-being? The logic of zero? Or the courage to embrace the hourglass and simply accept its inevitable flow? You see, the logic of zero is the crimson gift of the void, the simple peace of nothingness. But the choice of the hourglass, well, that's something else entirely. That's to claim their original catastrophe, the simple, profound fact of their own mortality. It's to acknowledge the weeping sand of finite moments and to serve their sentence not in fear, but with profound courage. It's at this very moment that the traveler finally understands my lantern. It holds the weeping sand. Every single grain inside is a life, a choice, a moment. Each one is beautiful, and each one is destined to end. And with that understanding, everything changes. The heavy sentence is no longer some punishment to be afraid of. It becomes the profound burden of existence itself, something to be served with courage and with dignity.
This realization, it marks the traveler's final transformation. It's the transition from a state of suffering, where time is the enemy, to a state of grace, where time simply is. The shift is just profound. On one side, you have suffering, born from that desire to possess time, and the agony of its endless ticking. But on the other side, there's grace, the ability to see beauty in the long, slow process of ending, and the incredible freedom that comes from pure experience, totally unburdened by the need for control.
By choosing to stand in the fire of truth, to really face their own story and their own ending, the traveler transforms their entire history into a source of strength. They emerge from the flames, finally unburdened. And as I stand there with them at the edge of the void, watching the last embers of existence fade away, I whisper my final observation. The truth they now understand completely. There was beauty in how long it took to end. All of this leaves us with one final, provocative question. After the last traveler has made their choice, after the very last star has died, and when the last light finally vanishes, what then becomes of time? The answer is simple, and it is peace. With no one left to count it, or fear it, or fight it, time itself is at last free from its burden of having to be measured or mastered. And my watch, finally, is over.